Scene opens with a group of friends driving through a barren desert landscape, their car kicking up clouds of dust as they go. The sun beats down relentlessly, casting harsh shadows across the endless sand dunes. Tension builds as the group realizes they are lost, their GPS and phone signals completely dead. As night falls, the group decides to set up camp, a bonfire crackling in the darkness. They laugh and joke, trying to ignore the eerie silence that surrounds them. Suddenly, a distant howl breaks the stillness, sending shivers down their spines. One by one, the friends begin to disappear, leaving behind only mysterious footprints in the sand. Panic sets in as the remaining survivors realize they are being hunted by an unseen force. The desert seems to come alive with sinister whispers and ghostly figures that vanish when approached. Frantic and desperate, the survivors stumble upon an ancient burial ground marked by weathered tombstones and crumbling ruins. Unearthly wails fill the air as they try to flee, the ghostly apparitions closing in on them with each passing moment. As the first glimmers of dawn break over the horizon, the survivors make a final stand against the supernatural forces that haunt the desert. The climax of the video unfolds in a heart-pounding chase through the treacherous terrain, culminating in a pulse-pounding confrontation with the vengeful spirits that have tormented them. In the chilling conclusion, the last survivor escapes the desert, trembling and wild-eyed. The horrors of the night burned into their soul. The screen fades to black, leaving the audience on the edge of their seats, a lingering sense of dread filling the air. It was a dark and moonless night in the heart of the desert. The wind howled and whistled through the barren landscape, carrying with it an eerie sense of foreboding. The stars above seemed to twinkle with malevolent intent, as if they were watching and waiting for something terrible to happen. In the distance, a lone figure trudged through the shifting sands, their footsteps muffled by the whispering wind. They had been wandering for what felt like an eternity, lost and disoriented in the vast expanse of the desert. With each passing moment, their sense of unease grew, as if an unseen presence was stalking them from the shadows. Suddenly, the figure stumbled upon the ruins of an ancient, long-forgotten village. The crumbling buildings loomed ominously in the darkness, casting long, twisted shadows across the sand. Despite the overwhelming sense of dread that filled the air, the figure felt compelled to explore the village, as if drawn there by some unseen force. As they moved deeper into the village, the figure became acutely aware of a low, guttural moaning that seemed to emanate from the very ground beneath their feet. The sound sent shivers down their spine, and they quickened their pace, desperate to escape the oppressive weight of the night. But no matter how fast they ran, the moaning followed, growing louder and more insistent with each passing moment. It was as if the very earth itself was alive and crying out in agony, a tumultuous cacophony of despair that threatened to consume the figure whole. Finally, they stumbled upon a massive, yawning pit that seemed to stretch down into the very bowels of the earth. As they peered over the edge, they were met with a sight that froze their blood in their veins. The pit was filled with the twisted, broken bodies of countless souls, their lifeless eyes staring up at the figure with accusing, hollow gazes. With a strangled cry, the figure turned and fled, their heart pounding in their chest. They raced through the village, the moaning growing louder and more frenzied with each passing moment. The stars above seemed to mock them, their cold, indifferent light casting the entire landscape in an otherworldly pallor. Just as they feared they would be driven, mad by the overwhelming terror, the figure burst through the crumbling gates of the village and stumbled out into the open desert once more. The moaning abruptly ceased, and an eerie silence descended upon the land. As they collapsed onto the sand, gasping for breath, the figure knew that they had escaped the clutches of whatever malevolent force had haunted the village. But as they looked back at the ruins, they knew in their heart that the desert held many more secrets, and that they had only scratched the surface of the horrors that lay hidden in its depths. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the endless sands, the desert came alive with an eerie sense of foreboding. Far from the safety of civilization, a group of travelers found themselves stranded in the heart of the dunes, with nothing but the howling wind for company. As they huddled together for warmth, a sense of unease settled over the group. The desert held a haunting silence, broken only by the occasional shifting of the sand. It was as if the world had stopped, leaving them alone in a desolate expanse of nothingness. As darkness descended, the travelers lit a small fire, its flickering flames offering scant comfort against the vast emptiness of the desert night. But as they sat huddled around the fire, they began to hear strange whispers on the wind, carried from somewhere deep within the dunes. At first, they dismissed it as a trick of the mind, a product of their fear and exhaustion. But as the whispers grew louder, the travelers realized that something was out there in the darkness, something sinister and unnatural. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, its form obscured by the swirling sands. It moved with a slow, deliberate gait, drawing closer to the trembling group. As it came into the light of the fire, they saw that it was a ghostly apparition, its eyes hollow and empty, its tattered robes billowing in the wind. The travelers were paralyzed with fear as the ghost drew closer, its unearthly moans filling the air. They wanted to run, to escape from this nightmare, but something held them in place, a primal instinct that warned them not to provoke the spirit that now stood before them. With a haunting wail, the ghost vanished into the night, leaving the travelers shaken and bewildered. They knew that they were not alone in the desert, that something malevolent lurked within its shifting sands. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, the travelers gathered their belongings and fled from the haunted desert, their hearts pounding with a fear that would never leave them. For they had encountered something beyond, the realm of the living, something that had no place in the world of the living. To this day, the story of the haunted desert is told in hushed tones, a cautionary tale for those who dare to venture too far into the barren wastelands of the world. For the desert is not just a place of heat and sand, but a realm of darkness and dread, where the spirits of the lost and the damned still wander, searching for those foolish enough to cross their path. And should you ever find yourself alone in the desert at night, listen closely, for you may hear the whispers of the restless dead and feel the chill of their unseen gaze upon your skin.